What's up, guys? I'm Roderick, aka Rodman, and welcome back to another video. Happy New Year's, 2022. I have a really good feeling about this year, especially for the channel. I feel like, honestly, I feel like by the end of the year, we can end up hitting like 1K subs. Um, in the past month, I've gotten like 40 subscribers. Yesterday, I got like 5 or 6 subscribers, which you might look at other YouTubers and be like, oh, that's nothing. They get that in seconds. But for me, it really does mean a lot because um, YouTube has been my dream ever since I was, a little kid. And to see people actually like subscribing and commenting and liking the videos, it does mean a lot, man. You guys are supporting my dream. Um, if we end up hitting like these milestones, 1K, stuff like that, I will definitely be doing giveaways and things like that. Um, but yeah, if you do like gaming content, anime, retro gaming, go ahead and drop a sub, because this year we're going to be coming with a lot of bangers that you don't want to miss. But in this video, we're going to be talking and ranking every single psychic ability in the Mother series, all of them. I made this template on tier maker. It's kind of glitched, but I'm pretty sure you can still make out what it is. But without further ado, man, let's get right into the video. So we're gonna start with defense down. Defense down can go in the B tier. Now, in Mother and Earthbound, defense down is kind of like a C tier kind of ability. You don't really need it in Earthbound at all. Earthbound's a pretty easy game. But Mother 3 though, and like that's what I've noticed. Mother 3, these buffs really are game changers. Like especially defense down, not so much. But when we talk about like offense down is literally S tier. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that up. Offense down is S tier. Where's offense up? I know I have it on here. Where is it? Here it is. Offense up is probably also B tier, because you usually enough. It's not like, oh, I'm too weak to do damage to whatever boss or enemy I'm fighting. Usually it's, oh, I'm taking a little bit more damage than I want to. So that's why offense down is so good, and that's why defense up is just so good, especially in Mother 3, especially in the original Mother. Earthbound not so much, but yeah, though these status buffs for the team and for the enemy are just so good. PK Thunder though, PK Thunder can go. PK here's the thing. I want to put it B tier because relying on PK Thunder can really be bad, because there's a high chance that the ability is going to miss. You can do PK Thunder Omega and it miss all 4 times, and you just wasted like 30 something PP. Don't make jokes, but you just wasted 30 something PP, and it's kind of like, what the heck. But as far as the damage, it has solid damage output, but I think just for the unreliability of the ability, I'm gonna have to put it B tier, man. And 9 times out of 10, you're really not going to be using PK Thunder as much as some of the other offensive PSI moves, like PK Rockin', PK Love, PK Beam Fire, stuff like that. Like, you're not going to be using it all that much. PK Flash. PK Flash, I'm comfortable putting PK Flash in A tier. Yes, it's unreliable if you want, in the aspect of, if you want to kill something with PK Flash, the chances aren't really great. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to make them numb. You're going to make them cry. So most of the time that you use PK Flash, something is gonna happen. It's not just gonna be like, oh, they're immune. So I think it's reliable of status ailments, but for killing, not so much. PK Rockin' is obviously S tier, most specifically. And when it comes to offensive PSI, I'm going to talk about the different levels because, for example, PK, if I were to rank every single increment of each ability, PK Rockin' would be like D tier. I mean, PK Rockin' Omega would be like D tier because it's super impractical. You're not going to be using PK Rockin' Omega. Yeah, it does a lot of damage, but it costs like 90 PP, and you can do more damage doing other things. PK Rockin' Beta has to be like top 5 best offensive PSI moves in the entire series because it costs like 14 PP and you're doing 200 to 300 damage to everybody on the field. Great ability. But up when you go to PK Rockin' Gamma and Omega, you don't really need those, to be quite real. PK Ground. See, the thing about PK Ground is arguably, not even arguably, PK Ground is the strongest offensive PSI move in the game. Not even in Mother 3, in the entire series, PK Ground is utterly broken. It is utterly broken. So in that regard, I think I have to put it S tier. I think it costs 40 something PP. Let me just look it up to make sure I'm right. Maybe just, yeah, 43 PP. To do like upwards of over 1,000 damage to every enemy on the, like, what? It is quite ridiculous, honestly. PK Beam from Mother 1. If you haven't played Mother 1, which you absolutely should if you are a RPG fan, but PK Beam can go, I'll say PK Beam, since PK Beam, this is the only Mother game that PK Beam has been in, so I will put PK Beam A tier. It is a very, very strong non-elemental attack. It doesn't work on robots or electrical enemies or, like, you know, mecha enemies and things like that, so that kind of sucks. But like it is very strong. You're going to be using PK Beam actually for majority of your attacks, but, and I'm gonna just jump down to this, and this what stops me from putting PK Beam in S tier, is that even in all the rest of the Mother games, PK Freeze is just, it's just great. It's just a great ability. Even like when you're going against monsters that are supposed to be like frozen and or like cold, PK Freeze is still doing a lot of damage to them. For example, Mother 3, when you're on the big mountain thing, you're fighting the snowmen and the dogs and stuff, you're still using PK Freeze. It's crazy. But back to PK Beam though, that's what stops me from putting PK Beam in S tier, is because PK Freeze just overshine, like it just outperforms it. Not to ramble on too much, but I know PK Freeze Gamma and Mother puts any monster in critical mode, which means they're one attack from dying. Any monster. So that technically means that you can be fighting a boss, use PK Freeze Gamma, and put the boss immediately in critical mode. You can beat them in literally one turn. This ability is broken. Refresh. I'm putting Refresh D tier because it's not an ability that you get like soon. I think you kind of get it to like the middle-ish to halfway point, like middle-ish to endish point of the game. You don't need it. You don't need it. Um, unless if you're the player, since Mother 3, the refreshes in Mother 3, but unless you're the player to kind of use your healing and sit back and let the effects go all the way back up, then yes, this ability probably could be like B tier, probably B tier maximum. But for most people with the scrolling HP thing, they're not waiting that long for the HP to get back up. So refresh really isn't an ability you're going to be using very often. Picking Star Storm is S tier. Don't even have to really talk too much about it. Every increment from Alpha to Omega is doing 500 to 600 damage, and Omega is doing over 1,000 damage to every enemy on the field. It's Ness and Lucas's final smash, so obviously it's going to be really good. Darkness in Mother 1 definitely can go. I'll put Darkness C tier. Yes, it can be useful, but just the fact that you have an ability in PK Freeze that literally just makes almost every monster and boss completely worthless except for the dragon and all the monsters on Mount Itoi. PK Freeze is the only thing that's really going to keep you alive in those areas. Super healing in Mother 1. Super healing is pretty much like healing Omega, even though it doesn't cost as much. Super healing is A tier. It cures all status ailments, including death, and it also, if that person is dead, it also revives them to full health, which is obviously extremely good. So, but I think I guess the downside is you learn it pretty late in the game, which, you know. So, the PSI shields from Earthbound and Mother 3. Now, Mother 3, the PSI shields reduce incoming PSI attacks by 50%. You can cast it on the whole party. Same thing with Earthbound, except for the fact that I believe, you know, the PSI shield Omega makes PSI completely disappear, which is a very good ability. I say it's A tier, but the only thing that's stopping it from being S tier is realistically you're not going to be using it that much. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I am taking into account like the practicality of you actually using it too. And that leads me into PK Magnet, which I will put in B tier, because there has been plenty of situations where I'm like, dang, I'm low on psychic points, and I use PK Magnet Omega, and I get like 30 or 40 PP. It's very good, but the people that learn PK Magnet, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be really running into too many problems in that department, honestly. But when you're in a pinch, this is a very good ability to have. Paralysis can go C tier. There has been one time I remember where paralysis was actually not mandatory, but it was just a no-brainer not to use it, and that was in the fight against Mondo Mole at Earthbound, which is the second Sanctuary boss. It's just great. Now, if every boss was as vulnerable to paralysis, then paralysis would be S tier. But as you get on and on and on in the game, even when you get to the third sanctuary boss, they're immune to paralysis. And you're not going to be using paralysis against normal monsters. You're just going to be using PK Rock and Beta and just clearing everything out. So you're going to use his ability like once in the whole game. But shield. This is like the regular shield, especially from, you know, Mother 1 and Earthbound, where it reduces physical damage. I think a good spot for this is C tier, because 9 times out of 10, if you're thinking, oh crap, I have to, actually, I'll put it B tier, because there's some times where if you do something to a boss and they go haywire, like the Mecha Gorilla, if you have this shield up, it's going to make the fight free. But if you don't, you die. But 9 times out of 10, you're just going to be using, if you are using shields, it's just going to be a PSI shield for the most part. But the occasion where you have to use PK shield, which should be, you know, a decent amount, is good. B tier. PK Love, most obviously S tier. PK Love is literally just PK rocking, honestly. Personally, I mean, I still think that PK rocking is, honestly though, I think that PK Love might be better, because first, PK rocking Omega, from my experiences, there's a lot of times where it just doesn't work. It'll be like it didn't affect any enemies on the field. Like, what the heck? But PK Love Omega will do over 1,000 to everybody on the field. Let me just check how much it costs. PK Love Omega costs, I think it's like 60 something. Come on now. See, it's 50. It does 800 to 820 points to all enemies. Like, and it only costs 50 PP, which you might be like, that's a lot, but Lucas has, like, you know, 350 to 400 PP late game like that. So you can just spam it until you win. Life Up is obviously A tier. It's really the only thing you're going to be using to heal. Like, unless you actually like buy food items, which you really don't buy a lot of food items in the entire game except the beginning when you don't have Life Up. This ability makes food kind of completely obsolete. But yeah, so Hypnosis or Brain Shock could go D tier. You're never going to use this ability. Straight up, it's worthless. I'm sorry. There's not been a single scenario where I said, I'm gonna use PK. I'm gonna use Brain Shock, or I'm gonna use Hypnosis, and it's actually gonna add some value to the fight. It's not, because guess what? The next turn they're gonna wake up. PK Teleport, obviously S tier, the ability to travel anywhere that you've been in the entire game if you have the correct room, and especially when you get PK Teleport Beta, you just go in a little circle. You can go from One-Ed to Foreside, from Foreside to the desert area. I forgot what it was called. Same thing with Mother 3, even though you learn teleport quite late in that game. But PK Shield / counters is A tier. The reason why it's not S tier is because there's not a lot of enemies, and one enemy I specifically remember where I was like, you need a PSI shield, is those 3 purple, weird purple dudes that you fight Mother 3 who was spamming PK Starstorm. You need PSI shield. It's a really good ability to use in every single boss fight pretty much. You don't need it, but it does make your life a lot easier, especially with the counter thing as well. So I believe A tier. 4th D slip, a lot of these are going in S tier, man. But listen, 4th D slip is S tier. If 4th D slip is from Mother 1, and it gives you a guaranteed 100% escape rate from any fight in the game that's not a boss fight. And especially with the level of difficulty that Mother 1 is, if this game didn't have 4th D slip, it will be like top 10 hardest RPGs on the NES. Because especially this game does not have scrolling HP. So if you die, if Nintendo has 300 health and I get hit for 500 health, it's not going to scroll down. I'm dead. It's crazy. PK Fire. PK Fire's A tier. Reason why I say PK Fire's A tier, because most of the time you're really not going to be using it that much. Except if they're weak to PK Fire and they're all lined up in a row. That's really the only reason why you should be using PK Fire. It's a good ability, but it's really not worth it. Especially when you have things like PK Rockin' and PK Love. That's going to be hitting everybody on the field, no matter what placement they're in. Solid. PK Heal. Dang it, bro. Here's the thing. I don't want to just throw everything in S tier. But, like, PK Heal is a necessity, man. Like, Heal Omega brings people back from the dead. It heals all status ailments, even the diamondization and, you know, the mushroom stuff and the ghost things and stuff like that. Once you get high level PK Heal, it's just very clutch. You don't have to go to the doctor in Earthbound or Mr. Saturn and get the mushroom off your head. You can just heal it wherever. Very, very, very good ability. It's just like your Esuna in Final Fantasy. Brain Shock is pretty much the same thing as Hypnosis. Garbage ability. You're never going to use it. But that is pretty much it for this video. Personally, I think this list is pretty accurate. These, you're not going to ever use. Darkness Paralysis is on occasion. Like maybe once, max 5 times a game. But everything else B tier and up, I consider to be good abilities that you're going to use on a B tier semi-frequent basis, but A tier and up, you're going to be using it pretty often. But that's it for this video, man. If you liked the video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want more retro video game content, more gaming content, more anime content, I feel like 2022 is going to be a great year for the channel and the community, man. So, Brahman out. Peace.